My family immigrated to New York from Canada, from Montreal, Canada in 1970, and we lived in Manhattan, Chinatown for a couple of months. My father bought his house in Sunset Park on 55th Street between 8th and 9th Avenue in 1974. The realtor told him that he was in Bay Ridge. I think because to kind of increase the desirability of that area, and that is how we arrived in Sunset Park. In terms of transportation for my mom, she worked in the Chinatown garment industry, so clearly the N line, was a convenient transportation line for her. And then my dad worked on the weekends in a restaurant, and during the week he worked in an industrial laundry in Greenpoint. But that's how we wound up in Sunset Park, at a time when it was still possible for working immigrants to buy a home. When we moved to Sunset Park, on the one side, and we purchased a typical kind of two-family limestone row house, and on one side was the DeMiglios, on the other side was the Walshes. So it was an Italian, and then it was an Irish family. On 8th Avenue, we remember that there were Norwegian kind of little tchotchke shops. There was Otto's Bakery, and the corner of my dad's block, which is now Pacifica Restaurant, which is a very famous large dim sum restaurant, used to be a refrigeration repair shop. When my siblings and I were growing up in Sunset Park, it was, I think the Scandinavian population had already begun to decline, and it was largely Irish and Italian for the white ethnics, and then a sizable Puerto Rican and Dominican population as well. And the Chinese population, it was small, and it was largely Cantonese and Toisanese. And that clearly is a very different than what the Chinese demographic is today. I think that since the early 90s, when Sunset Park began to explode, it was really driven by the Fujianese immigration to New York City, and then settling in Sunset Park. And of course, the Latino population has completely changed. It is no longer a native-born Puerto Rican population. It's largely immigrants, starting with Dominicans, but now the Mexicans are the largest Latino immigrant group, followed, I think that Ecuadorians are also very large. I think those are the two largest Latino immigrant groups in Sunset Park.